All right, hey everybody. If you could do me a favor and let me know if you can hear me talking right now, it would help us figure out if our sound's going all right. So if you could just tell us in the chat, hey Matt, we can hear you, or hey Matt, please stop talking. Oh, thank you, appreciate it.
I love your outfit.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Hello. I'll do it a second time so everyone can hear me. Hello, welcome to this evening's program. My name is Matt Binder. I'm your adult program coordinator here at the Schaumburg Township District Library. Welcome to tonight's program. We're going to meet a celebrity in person who has traveled in time back just to meet you. How special is that? I'd like to welcome you here in the room. I'd also like to welcome our friends at home. Hello, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. For both of you to be here, I'm going to split my usual reminders into two parts. Here's the first. First is, for you at home, we have closed captions enabled. If you wish to change those, look at your Zoom toolbar and you can either change whether or not you see the captions, how big they are, or if you want them whatsoever. So check that at the bottom of your screen. For those of us here in the room, I'm going to give you some direction. First, because the people at home already know where their bathrooms are, yours are going to be to the right. You go outside the door, you're going to take a left, and you're going to see the women's bathroom right here. Keep going down the hallway. At the end of the bookshelves, you're going to find the men's bathroom. Between those two things is a water fountain and an emergency staircase, should we need it. And again, if you have an emergency at home, I'm sorry, we cannot help you. Please call the police. Second thing, and for you at home, this is not a problem, but for you in the room, please look at your cell phones. You brought them with you today. Take a look at them and turn them down. If you can, turn them off for the hour and a half that we're together. But please turn all of your volume down. There's nothing worse than hearing a slot machine sound in the middle of someone's presentation. So please look at both your ringtones and your text messages. Make sure that all those bars are all the way down if you can. Okay, let me tell you about two things that are coming up here at the library that I'm excited about. First, on Thursday, March 23rd at 7 p.m., we have our Filling Our Hearts with Love Through Meditation. We are inviting a meditation expert to talk about meditation, how it works for you, and then to do a little meditating. It's on Zoom, it's an hour. If it's something you've been meaning to try or get into, this is a perfect time to do it. They give you the benefits, and then they give you some strategies on how to do it on your own. Meditation is not easy. Sitting down and being quiet sounds easy? It is not. So if you want to learn, get some great strategies, Thursday the 23rd, 7 p.m. on Zoom. Next, also on Zoom, on March 1st, we are inviting the author Mary Roach. If you've not read one of her many amazing books like Packing for Mars or Stiff, I invite you to go look at our collection and get as many of her books as you can. She is a fantastic science writer. She also is going to be in conversation with the science fiction and science writer Annalee Newitz. Those are going to be online, and this is presented through Illinois Library Presents, which is a 200-plus library consortium that pools money to bring people in, like Mary Roach, to talk to you. When you sign up, you have the option of submitting a question. If there's something you've always wanted to ask Mary, you've always wanted to know, your question might be chosen to be asked to her with your first name attached to it. So if that's even more of an incentive to see this amazing program, again, that's Wednesday, March 1st, 7 p.m. on Zoom. Okay, that is more than enough from me. So now I'm going to move on to our guest tonight. Okay, we are in for a rare treat today. Either that or a complete disaster. The suspense is killing me. This is Ellie's newest character, Phyllis Diller. Ellie appreciates your patience as she attempts to be her own producer. Ellie looks forward to many questions, comments, criticisms, and suggestions at the end, so please stick around if you can. Now for the official stuff. Ellie has a Bachelor of Arts with honors from Roosevelt University and a Master's of Historical Administration and Museum Studies from the University of Kansas. She completed her professional internship at the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History in the Division of Costume. She serves as the curator for Clark House, Chicago's oldest building. She publishes a cooking column for Glesner House called Cooking with Maddie. Ellie likes to say that 13 women live inside of her. She performs characters in the 19th and early 20th century as first-person interpretation. She also gives lectures, workshops, and programs to groups on various domestic arts topics. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Phyllis Diller.
Margaret of the Geritol set. That girl who, in the high school production of Cinderella, played both ugly sisters. That lovable dummy who says,
Inflation has hit everything but my chest.
that silly broad who accepts obscene phone calls. Collect Phyllis Diller.
Hi! Oh, I'm so glad to be here. I am so glad to be here because it means I'm not at home. Oh, my mother-in-law has come to visit. She has that terrible habit. Does your mother-in-law have that habit? She is currently on the 3rd week of a 2-week visit. I asked her the other day when she was planning to go home, she said, I just want to stay until Junior graduates. Junior is in the 7th grade. It's so much work to get ready for one of her visits. First of all, I have to drag a log in from the yard and put it in the living room. Otherwise, she'll scratch her claws on my furniture. Terrible. We didn't have a Persian rug till she came to visit. Yeah, she sat on the cat. She's large. She is, when she wears a white dress, Michelle, look at that. It's true. She will eat anything. She's got a racing stripe on her fork. We took her out for Chinese food once. Her chopsticks caught fire. I had to feel sorry for her, though. She's so old. Her birth certificate was signed by Hippocrates. Her social security number is 2. Her crow's feet wear boots. She's very proud to tell me that she's a charter member of the Garden Club. Yeah, the Garden of Eden. The only reason she wasn't on Noah's Ark, they couldn't find another animal that looked like her. You know why she's not in Ripley's Believe It or Not? They didn't believe it. Once a year, they shove her through the Holland Tunnel to clean it. Oh boy, she's rough. And she is just crazy about her son, my husband, Fang the idiot. Oh, the other night he comes home drunk as a skunk, stumbling around like this. She goes, oh, look, my baby is learning to walk. I will say one thing, though. She is very, very good with the children. I only know 2 kids that ever got it over on her. Hansel and Gretel. Yeah, she's visiting again, and I've about had it up to here. As soon as she goes home, you know what she does? Does your mother-in-law do this? The minute she gets home, she starts talking about her next visit. Well, if she comes next year for Christmas, I am not getting her a present. You know what? She didn't use what I got her last year. A cemetery plot. Good night. I love you. Well, they're nice folks. What do we got? Oh, I got a letter. What's this? Teen Beat Magazine. Oh, isn't that precious? Oh, look, they sent me a little certificate for a free subscription. I'll save that. Maybe one of my kids will want it. What do they have to say? I love these when the children write me interview questions. It's always so interesting to know. I bet I could tell you without looking what these questions are. Yeah. How did you get your start? Well, I've got a comeback for that. I became a stand-up comic because I had a sit-down husband. My husband, Sherwood Diller, inherited a little bit of money. And because of that, he thought that he didn't need to work for a long time. Well, eventually, you know, it's a funny thing about money, it runs out. And so rather than get a job, he decided to encourage me to pursue my talents. And everybody always said I was funny. You know, when you're born this ugly, you gotta be funny. And so I started writing some advertisements for the local newspaper because they were deadly dull. Nobody would want to buy anything they were advertising. But I spiced them up a bit, made them funny. Pretty soon, those products are selling better, the ones that I wrote the ad copy for, so they gave me a column in the newspaper. Then they gave me a radio show, The Homely Friend Maker. And it was a success. And I was going along. I've got 5 kids at home to raise, going right along, writing my column, doing my little radio show, being a lousy housewife, as one does. And then my husband either read in the newspaper or saw on television, I don't remember which, but he saw something that said that it was either Bob Hope or Milton Berle had just signed a $50,000 contract with one of those places in Las Vegas for a long run. Well, $50,000 was a lot of money in 1955, let me tell you. And he saw that and all he could see was the dollar signs, kind of like the cartoons, you know, when Porky Pig sees the dollar signs, it was like that. And he decided that I needed to go to work as a stand-up comic. Except there was no such thing as a female stand-up comic. The men took one look at me and said, "What is it?" "Quick, get a stick. Somebody hit it. It might breathe." Now, what to do with me? Well, 87 weeks later, playing at the Purple Onion for 87 weeks, I had a career and I never looked back. And that, dear children, is how Phyllis Diller got her start. That ought to be a good answer for them. Now let's see, what else have we got happening over here? What? Oh, it's Stephen? It's time? How long have I got? Just about 30 seconds. Okay. I'm ready when you are, Stephen.
Phyllis Diller. So let's bring her on here. We're very nice.
Sorry, I don't look so good. I just drove through a car wash with the windows open. I don't recommend it. Of course, Fang takes one look at me, looking like a mess like this. He'll have something to say about it. All he does is criticize me. Fang says the only thing domestic about me was that I was born in this country. Oh, that man bugs me. Comes to bed at night, brings a book, leaves the light on all night long. I wouldn't mind if he reads, he colors. Oh, dumb. He is so. I took him to the ballet one time. You're not gonna believe this. I took him to the ballet, and I'm so happy. I'm getting to see this beautiful production, and the girls are so gorgeous, and all the ballerina dancers come out in the part where they get up on their tippy toes, and they're doing their thing. And he turns to me and he goes, "Why don't they just get taller girls?" God. Oh, he's just so dumb. He was reading the paper the other day, and he looks at me and he says, "Isn't it interesting how people manage to die in alphabetical order?" And he's paranoid, dumb and paranoid. Took him to the mall. You know how at the mall they have those big maps and they say, "You are here," the little arrow. He wants to know how they know. Walked all over the mall, every map. They still know where I am. Oh, it's dangerous and rude. Oh, the man is so rude. The last time he opened the door for me was when I was getting sick on the way home from the New Year's Eve party. Oh, it's terrible. I can't leave him alone with the children at all because he's just terrible with the children. Although there was one day I had some things I had to do out of the house and I took a chance. I left him home with the children. Well, I came home and they all gathered around. They're jumping up and down. They're so excited, thrilled out of their tiny minds. Daddy had taken them on an outing. They had donuts and orange juice, They're thrilled because they'd never given blood before. Just awful. Oh, the man. People ask me, how did you meet Fang? Well, I was looking for a vacation. I was in a travel bureau. I was looking for a romantic spot, and Fang was the last resort. Yeah, we've made the best of it, though. We have one very, very important thing in common in our marriage. We can't stand each other. No, it's true. He has built a wall between us in our marriage. Of course, I'm the one that put the barbed wire and broken glass on the top. So there is that. He never wants to do anything with me, but finally, one time, I had some shows in London and I convinced him to go with me to England. I was so excited. So we get on the airplane and the captain comes on. We're over the ocean, of course. The captain comes on. He says, ladies and gentlemen, there's no cause for alarm. Everything's perfectly fine. Just want to let you know that we've lost an engine, but it's not critical. Perfectly safe aircraft. We'll just be a few minutes late getting into Heathrow. No cause for alarm. I don't think too much about that. These things happen, but about 20 minutes later, captain comes on again. He says, ladies and gentlemen, there's no cause for alarm. Everything's perfectly fine, but we have lost a second engine and we will definitely be 30 minutes late getting in to London. So Fang orders another cocktail and I'm starting to get real nervous and beginning to think I need one. Captain comes on again a little while later and he says, ladies and gentlemen, there's no cause for alarm, perfectly fine, but we have gone ahead and lost a third engine. Fang turns to me, he goes, they better not lose another one, we'll be up here all night. So we get to London safely, I do my show. The next day we've got some time off, I want to do all the touristy things, I'm so excited. And you know, in London, they have those red double-decker buses. They're real cute. You've seen them in the movies, right? They're adorable, just as cute as you can be. And they're small, and they go down the little streets and the little alleys, and they take you everywhere, and you see the Tower of London, and you see Big Ben, and you see everything, and it's wonderful. So we got our tickets, pulls up in front of the hotel, we get on, he scrambles to the top. I sit right behind the driver, because I want to hear the whole show. And so we drive all over London and it's wonderful little tiny streets and I'm making notes of the things I want to go back and see and it was just fantastic. So I get back to the hotel and I get off the bus and here comes Fang stumbling down the stairs, white as a sheet, sweat pouring off of him. He's shaking like a leaf. I say, what the hell is wrong with you? He looks back at the bus, he goes, oh, you had a driver. Oh, I know. It's just, it's really very sad. But we are good parents. We do try. We take all of those children to church every Sunday so we can go home and fight in peace. Yeah, we have such a bad marriage. We go to separate marriage counselors. It's true. Yeah, I highly recommend it. His marriage counselor told him as a suggestion to think back on the happiest time of his life. And he says, you mean before we met? I know. It's just terrible. I do have a piece of advice for you, for all you single people. Don't get married. And for all you married people, here's a good piece of advice, and it's true. You've always heard, never go to bed angry, right? Stay up and fight. Thank you, good night, I love you. Now, what has the Teen Beat magazine got as their second question? Why do you stay married to Fang? I'm not married to Fang. Fang is a construct. Fang is made up, completely and entirely made up. He is not a real person, never was. when I started in this business, the male comics, which they were all male comics back then, the male comics would tell lots of stories about their wives and their mothers-in-law. And they got lots of laughs. They got lots of laughs with that. But I tried to change the gender on some of those jokes, and it didn't work. And I couldn't figure it out for a minute, but then it occurred to me, because I would watch my audience. And if I told a naughty story about a husband, something stupid or mean or drunken or miserly that the husband had done, the husbands wouldn't laugh because it was just too close to home for some of them. And the wives wouldn't laugh because they were afraid if what I'd said was too close to home and their husband saw them laughing, he would see himself in the joke and he'd be offended. So I knew that wasn't going to work. So I invented Fang. I created Fang. He is a drunk. He's lazy. He's not very bright. He's a terrible father. He's not a good supportive partner. He is every horrible thing that a husband could possibly be, but he's so much worse. No one could ever be as rotten as Fang is. No man could ever be that rotten, and no woman could ever be stuck with a man that rotten. So now the husbands and wives can both laugh at the jokes. And that's why I created Fang. Now, it very nearly backfired on me one time. And this is something the kids at the little magazine will like, because this is true. My real mother-in-law, Sherwood Diller's real mother, tried to sue me because of all my mother-in-law jokes. And I also have sister-in-law jokes about Captain Bligh, my sister-in-law, who is Fang's sister. Now, see, the mother-in-law is not my mother-in-law, she's Fang's mother, and Fang isn't real, remember that. So she tried to sue me, and the judge looked at the suit, and what she wanted was a percentage of my income because I was telling jokes about her and her daughter. But here is where being an open and welcoming performer and human being served in my favor, because I had been interviewed so many times by people like Teen Beat Magazine. I had been on so many television programs and been interviewed. I had sat next to Johnny Carson and Jack Parr and Groucho Marx after doing my set and talked about my life and who I really was, that I had mentioned to enough people that Fang was a construct and he didn't exist. The judge read that and said, well, if she's on record all these times for years and years, decades, saying that Fang is not a real person, then how in the world can Moby Dick and Captain Bligh be real people? Because they're related to Fang. Therefore, they're not Mrs. Diller and her daughter. So the suit was thrown out. So there you have it. And that is why I stay married to Fang. My character, my onstage persona, will always be married to Fang. Regardless of who Phyllis offstage is or is not married to, she will stay married to Fang because he's good material. So that is what I'm going to tell the children about that. How we doing, Stephen? It's about time? Okay, that's fine. Let's see if I can remember what I'm supposed to tell these people. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get my gloves this time. All right, Stephen, I'm ready when you are, good sir.
She is the Madonna of the Geritol set. Phyllis Diller.
Don't let that Madonna thing scare you. If I grab my crotch, it might fall off, like my cigarette just fell out. You know, these aren't real. They're wooden. I keep them for people I hate. The box says that they guarantee that you can get no kind of cancer whatsoever from these cigarettes. What they don't tell you is you can get a hell of a hernia from the draw. Terrible. So I hope you notice I'm wearing slacks tonight. I know that the trend is for these very, very short mini skirts. You've seen them. And those are no good for me because my legs don't go all the way up. It's very, very difficult to be me. I'm telling you, it's just so hard. I know everybody thinks that this is Rodney Dangerfield's joke because I let him have it, but my parents really did have to tie a pork chop around my neck to get the dog to notice me. It's true. Yes. When I was born, the doctor slapped everybody. I have home movies of my parents coming out of the hospital with bags over their heads. When I was born, my father asked the doctor, is it a boy or a girl? And the doctor said, no. Terrible. I was reading the newspaper the other day and they had a wonderful advertisement. I loved it. It said, double your money back on a beauty cream. Well, I rushed right down. I had my money out. They took one look at me. They gave me my money back in advance. I joined a beauty contest once. I didn't win. I did get 302 get well cards, however. Terrible. I was shopping the other day and I was looking for something to wear to an affair, and the sales lady came up to me and she had this lovely dress and she says, madam, you simply must try this dress. It will give your husband ideas. And I said, why, does a brain come with it? Yeah, it'd be no good with Fang, no good whatsoever. I do have a little romance going with my car, however. Yeah, they say only men fall in love with their cars. Not true. I love my car. I took my car to the mechanic the other day and he says, I think we need to rotate your tires. And I said, doesn't that just naturally happen when you drive the car? Got in a terrible accident the other day. I hit a stop sign, bent it over in two, and police officer comes up and I roll the window down and he says, let me see your license. And I say, I haven't got one. Yeah, I can't get a license. I got 2 tickets on my written test. Terrible. But I do care about my car and I do try to take good care of it. So I took it back to the mechanic and I said the brakes were making a terrible noise, and he listened to them and he says, oh yes, he says, we definitely need to replace your brakes. I said, couldn't you just put in a louder horn? Yeah, so now I've got a little relationship going between me and the mechanic and my car. Yeah, we call it a garage à trois. I do love my car. I want to do everything I can for it. So I read about this new gasoline called Gasohol. It's 10% alcohol. Now, I'm no good at math, but that's 20 proof. Let me warn you, folks, don't give any of this to your car. I gave some to my car once. It disappeared. I found it 3 days later in Tijuana with a dragon tattoo on its trunk. Dangerous stuff. I'm a terrible driver, and these new highways with these spaghetti bowls and clover leaves and roundabouts, oh my goodness. I was on one of those clover leaves for so long, I gave up, I parked the car and hitchhiked. Terrible. I was in an accident one time and I really wrecked the car. It was really bad. So I had to call Fang. I get to a payphone, I call Fang. I said, now don't worry, I'm fine, but the car is not drivable. And he says, well, where are you, Phyllis? And I says, I'm at the corner of Erie and Post. He says, Erie and Post don't intersect. I said, they do now. It's just terrible. It's so hard to be me. I had a dinner party one time and I got up and I said, dessert, anyone? And my guest said, no, we'll stick around. Terrible. It's just awful being me. I just hate it. I just hate it. And I'll tell you, I'm really beginning to get a little worried. My youngest son is turning out to be the spitting image of his father. And I'm kind of worried that Fang's gonna notice. Good night. I love you. All right, this is the last question for these lovely little children. Why all the ugly jokes? Oh, well, because I'm ugly. No, that's absolutely true. Because in order to be funny, one must be dysplastic. There must be something odd or unusual about you. And if you look at old paintings and drawings, I mean, really old stuff, like going back to the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, and you look at the Commedia dell'arte performers, and you look at the court jesters in those paintings, you'll notice that the court jester inevitably has a big nose, or he's a little person, or there's a hunchback, or terrible skin complexion, a bald pate with no hair. I got that covered. The hair on the top of my head is so thin, my part is on the roof of my mouth. So when I first started in the business, before I had any work done at all, and I have had some work done, Michael Jackson and I have the same plastic surgeon, so you know he's good. So I realized that it would be easier to put the audience at ease if I was dysplastic. So I didn't try to make myself look better. I mean, there's lots of tricks you can do with makeup and lipstick and wigs and hair and clothes and all that. But I went the other direction to be more dysplastic, the fright wigs or the feather hats and exaggerated makeup and exaggerated clothing, so that it would put the audience at ease. And then once I got older and I started realizing I needed to have some plastic surgery done, a lot of my good friends say, well, Phyllis, if you're beautiful, will you still be funny? And it was a risk. It was a risk. But by that point in my career, I felt like if it didn't work, I was spending my hard-earned money to become more beautiful, which is what I'd always wanted to be in the first place. And if I never worked again, it'd be okay. As it turns out, that didn't happen, because we were still able to maintain some plasticity. Oh, sorry about that. Try saying that 3 times fast. But that is the reason for all the ugly jokes. So I will type that up and give it to my secretary to correct, and she can write these nice children back. And maybe there's some cute little teenager in the audience that will want a subscription to Teen Beat magazine. That was lovely. Okay, Stephen, are we ready? Anytime you want.
I would like you to meet a lovely lady inside and out, and a dear, dear lady with a great sense of humor and a fashion plate. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Phyllis Diller!
Hello. Oh, I got a little hitch in my giddy up today. I'm not gonna, I can't tell a lie. Oh, I knew I was gonna get old. I just didn't think it would start so young. I'm going gray. Not my hair, my skin. You know, when you put your moisturizer cream on, I don't think your skin's supposed to go. You know, when you know you're old, your walker has an airbag. Somebody compliments you, sorry about that, compliments you on your alligator shoes and you're barefoot. They discontinue your blood type. Yes, that's when they know that you're old. Oh, I tell you, it's just terrible to get old. I do like, though, when I go to Florida and I perform at these senior residences, they're always very nice. Also cruise ships, a lot of seniors, wonderful, wonderful. I was down in the Villages not too long ago.